Sheridan Gorman, she was a Loyola University student who I think was just walking home from class, was murdered by an illegal immigrant. I believe the guy was from Honduras. So we've had a lot of these high profile ones. Laken Riley was the other. People are calling this another Laken Riley scenario, right? She was killed. We heard yesterday that the Loyola University school paper had released an article about it, and they retracted it because apparently their school reporter accidentally referred to the guy as an illegal immigrant. And it turns out that was against their style guide. This is literally true. They issued an apology because it was against their style guide to refer to as an illegal immigrant. Then you have the family of Sheridan coming out here today and making a statement. I guess because the politicians on the left are trying to come out and say that it was a senseless tragedy, right? Somebody else had said she was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? No, she wasn't in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was in exactly the right place that she should have been, walking home from class. The illegal immigrant was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's what happened, right? And now you have her family, who doesn't sound too happy about any of this, coming out and making this statement. They say, what happened to Sheridan cannot be reduced to a senseless tragedy, nor can it be explained in general terms about public safety. She was doing something entirely normal, walking near her campus with friends. She should be here. We will not allow Sheridan's life to be reduced to a talking point or a generalization. We expect leadership that is willing to confront hard truths and ensure that what happened to her does not happen again. And I thought that was really important from this statement, that her family expects leadership that is willing or even able to confront hard truths. Here is a hard and inconvenient truth that Loyola University might not like to hear. This was an illegal immigrant that shouldn't have even been in the country in the first place. She had every right to be at that university. He didn't have a right to be here. And that is what is causing this particular tragedy. You can make the argument, well, not all illegal immigrants obviously kill people, but then you could make the counter argument, it shouldn't have even been one, right? We should have a zero tolerance for that, right? If you had secure borders, Laken Riley would still be here and Sheridan would still be here, right? So it shouldn't be tolerated at all, period, right? At the very least, we should have strong screening that screens for, I don't know, things like criminals. Isn't it weird, too, that I remember when Trump first came out and he was talking about, you know, the people coming in across the border, they're not sending their best people, they're sending their rapists, they're sending the murderers. Everyone just mocked him. It's turning out to be more and more right as we see more and more of these cases, right? And again, it's not a generalization that it applies to every immigrant, obviously, or every illegal immigrant. But he's looking more right than he was, what was that now, 10 years ago when he first brought it up? Yeah, there are a lot of apparently murderers coming in. Turns out when you're willing to do illegal stuff like cross a border and sneak into a country, you might have a prior rap sheet too, or you might be willing to bend the law in other ways, right? In some cases. You got that going on. You got the university ignoring reality, the politicians refusing to acknowledge the reality. Then you have this, what I would call a related story. So this was in New York. Link will work. This was in New York, super sad story. A time previously deported Honduran illegal alien has been charged with murder after he allegedly shoved an 83-year-old U.S. Air Force veteran onto subway tracks in New York City's Upper East Side. So I switched this story. This is the Honduran illegal alien. So, and this guy here, by the way, I mean, works his life protecting and defending his country. Was married, I think they were saying, for like 55 years, saying like that, lives a genuinely good life. Gets murdered by some bum who's, again, not supposed to be here, shouldn't be here. Not only was he an illegal alien, but he'd been 4 times reported. I believe he had a rap sheet, too. We'll look a little bit here. He wasn't hit by the train. I believe the story was that, so this immigrant pushed like 2 different people in these subway tracks. The first guy got up and was able to pull the older guy back up onto the subway platform after he was pushed. Believed he was okay, but apparently he got hit. He hit his head really hard. He's elderly. and was brain dead almost immediately, okay? There's a lot of video footage of it. By the way, I don't know. Apparently, this is becoming a New York pastime, just pushing people into subways. As if the subways weren't already bad enough. Now you gotta... I do this now, too. I live in downtown San Diego. Whenever I'm in front of a train or a subway, I kind of lean back a little bit. I put my foot out to brace. Because I just seen too many of these damn stories now. I'm like, I'm going to be ready. If someone pushes me, they're going to tilt back. I'm going to huck their ass in there. But in any case, grandfather, okay, what do we got here? Manhattan District Attorney's Office upgraded the charges against his alleged attacker, Honduran national Berrien Hernandez, a serial criminal with a lengthy rap sheet of at least 15 charges, according to the feds. So why is he in society at all? He's, number one, not supposed to be here. He's, number two, should be in prison even if he did get in, right? And again, the reason that this is happening, and we should have a zero tolerance policy for this, right, is because you have Democrat DAs that are soft on crime. They have more compassion for murderers and rapists than they do for the actual victims, right? Because they, like in the case of Sheridan, are unwilling to confront the hard truths, the inconvenient truths of society. So, and this is a problem that is specific to liberals right now, that's specific to Democrats. Democrat DAs, Democrat conservatives are all about the practical truth, even if it is politically inconvenient for them, right? You have Trump going into Iran ahead of a midterm when he knows that's probably not going to look good, but he believes he needs to do something, right? You had him, conservatives pushing through Supreme Court decisions and stuff like that on abortion when it was politically inconvenient for them, right? But they believed that was the truth that they needed to stand behind. And then you have Democrats who are unwilling to confront the truth. It's more important for them to say the right thing than to do the right thing, right? They're not, it's more important to create the fake ideals which they believe in than to acknowledge the reality that's happening on the ground, right? So they can't say it was an illegal immigrant that shoved somebody, because that would, to them, that's like the worst thing that happened, is to disparage illegal immigrants, right? The other thing that's happening here is you have this guy who's now arrested, right? He's probably going to jail. But the first thing that's probably going to happen is he's going to say, and his attorneys are going to say, who I'm sure he'll get free attorneys, will say, well, he was crazy, right? Again, we need to have compassion for this person. We can't murder him. He didn't know what he was doing. We can't lock him up in prison for the rest of his life. No. There were these people who murder people. Instead of even getting remanded to prison, they get sent to a facility, which is pretty comfy, where they get reevaluated throughout the rest of their lives to see if they can be released back into society again. Okay? So again, it's having compassion for the killers more than the victims, right? But here's the thing, and I said it with the Iran thing too. If you have people who are crazy, who don't understand that murder is wrong, then what's the point of even keeping them alive in the first place? What's the point of being alive in the first place? It seems to me that one of the main things that humans are here to do is to determine for themselves individually what is morally right and what is morally wrong. I mean, that kind of is the whole point of everything, right? So if you're not able to participate in that critical piece of life of determining, hey, is it right or wrong for me to murder this person, then what's the point of them even being alive? What kind of a life is that? That's the compassion we show, is to keep someone alive who doesn't even understand the fundamental importance of life itself? That seems like a fate worse than death. So Matt Walsh talked about this earlier this week, I think, and he was bringing up the fact that it's just all the more reason, if somebody still murders somebody, still doesn't understand why it's wrong, that's all the more reason to kill them. I mean, honestly, removed from society. And I'm sort of warming up to the idea, actually. You know, it's just the wrong. If you're crazy enough to put on a vest and blow yourself up just to kill somebody, we just need to kill you and get the rest of society. That's it. So, I don't know. The whole story is a bummer. This happened in March too. This month. This happened really recently. I feel like I've seen so many of these stories of people pushing people on subway tracks in New York that I'm like, didn't this happen a couple of years ago? No, this happened like the other week. Left dead, declared a homicide. Williams, this was the veteran. He loved the streets of New York and traveling in the transit system. He'd been happily married 55 years and had just won a 5-year battle with prostate cancer 6 months ago. Just giving him a new lease on life. And then there you have this stupid, very avoidable, I was going to say tragedy, but it's not even a tragedy. It's almost premeditated by the way that they run their city. Something like that's going to happen, you know? Okay, so, store robbery too, just crime related. I haven't really looked at this story too much, but apparently they were saying, I guess there was a convenience store worker fighting for his life after being knocked to the ground by a shoplifter. Here's the headline we want to talk about here, right? They are calling him a shoplifter, KTLA is, who was attempting to flee an East Los Angeles business earlier this month. The shop owners told KTLA, just a shoplifter, right? And then the tweet is saying, this isn't shoplifting, this is strong arm robbery. Stop trying to make all these violent criminals sound like mischievous kids taking candy from the stationery. Which, let's take a look at the video here. Yeah, he's 100% right. Fighting for his life. He probably got a severe concussion or brain injury. I mean, look at this ridiculous shit. They got to drag this poor kid in like that, and he's just a shoplifter who was, as AOC would say, was just some bread. They're just unwilling to acknowledge reality, and that's the problem. We